The international break is here, meaning that once we come back to club football, we will be at the business end of the season. And today, I'm going to look at all the exciting title races and who I think will be winning the 5 major trophies around Europe. First off, and Juventus are out of the title race. I know, not mathematically, but they are 11 games to go, 10 points behind, and after a 1-0 loss to Benevento, I just don't think they can make up the ground on Inter Milan. Never mind AC Milan. AC Milan are 6 points behind at the moment. Inter Milan are top and on a ridiculous run of form. In their last 10 games, I think they've got 9 wins and a draw. In fact, they are on such good form, I wouldn't put it past them winning every single game between now and the end of the season. At the beginning of the season, AC Milan were in fact coming out the traps absolutely flying, but now they find themselves 6 points behind. And as for Juve, they can still have an effect on the title race, just not really in the way that they imagined. On matchday 34, on the 9th of May, Juventus play AC Milan. Now, not only is that a chance for them to gain one on their rivals, but also it means that either both or at least one of the teams will be dropping points, and that's just music to Inter Milan's ears. In fact, by that time, you'd probably think that Inter will be so far away they'll be picking up their first Scudetto in 11 years, because a few weeks later on matchday 37, they have to travel to Juventus, and at the moment, 10 points clear. When it comes down to the last 2 games, are they really going to be within 6 points of Juventus? I can't see it happening. Things are only looking bad for Juve and AC Milan at the moment when it comes to trying to chase down Inter, who I mentioned are in such good form, and who knows what that's going to mean for especially Juve. Will Pirlo be there after a not so good season, especially being knocked out of the Champions League as well? Will Cristiano Ronaldo stay in the summer? The reason I'm focusing a little bit on them is because they've had a bit of a downfall. Obviously, having won so many Scudettos in a row, Juve are always going to be the team to beat. As for AC Milan, they've bought some good players. Zlatan is back. They've done very well to finish in second place, but I just think Inter Milan are going to be the winners this year. Moving on, and to the Premier League, and yes, this one isn't really going to take up too much time because Manchester City are winning it. At the moment, they are 14 points clear with 8 games to go. They have played a game more than Manchester United and Leicester City, who sit 15 points behind Manchester City. But regardless of this, nothing is going to stop City in the run they're on at the moment. The only thing that could potentially slow them down is the fact they've got a tricky Champions League tie against Dortmund, even though they are favourites against a team which look increasingly to be ever reliant on Erling Haaland. So if they get past them like you'd presume, they're still going to have tough decisions to make in the Champions League when it comes to team selection and a crowded fixture list. They of course have the Carabao Cup final as well, but despite all of this, City's squad depth is what got them here in the first place. I think they'll have no problem managing a title race in which, theoretically, by the time the final of the Carabao Cup comes around and the semi-final of the Champions League comes around, the Premier League are probably taking a backseat because they'll be that far ahead. When we return from international football, they do travel to Leicester, and unless Brendan Rodgers' men can inflict the kind of defeat which completely destroys morale and sends them spiralling on a terrible run, I can't see them cocking it up from here. It would be a cock-up of mammoth proportions if Manchester City failed to win the title with 8 games to go whilst being 14 points ahead. So Manchester City will be taking home, surely, Pep Guardiola's 3rd Premier League title in his 5 years at the club. Next up, and we move to La Liga, and this is one of the most exciting La Liga title races in years. 10 games to go. Atletico, 66 points. Barcelona, 62 points. Real Madrid, 60 points. Over the weekend, Atletico, it was sort of what you'd expect almost from these teams. Atletico scraping a 1-0 win. Barcelona in form, thrashing Real Sociedad 6-1. And Real Madrid doing what they do and grinding out the right result away from home with a 3-1 victory at Celta. Now, of course, that leaves us where we are at the moment, but there are some incredibly key games coming up once the international break returns. The first of which is just the 2nd game week after we're back to club football. And that is because there's an El Clasico around the corner. Yes, Real Madrid will play host to Barcelona. And honestly, again, like we mentioned before, those two playing each other is good news for Atletico Madrid, but that is not where I see the La Liga title being won and lost. The reason being that a few weeks later, on May the 9th, not only do Barcelona host Atletico Madrid, but Real Madrid also welcome Sevilla to the Bernabeu. Obviously, the top 4 all playing each other in the same weekend is pretty mad as it is, but what it means for the La Liga title race is going to be so much more. Barcelona are at home. you'd probably think that they were able to beat Atletico, although having said that, they did famously get the point they needed on the last day of the 2014 season, Atletico Madrid that is, to win the title back then. But you'd think that everything will be swinging in Barcelona's favour. Alongside this, Real Madrid might still be in the Champions League. And as we've seen, when they won 4 Champions League titles in 5 years, they only managed to win 1 La Liga title throughout those years, meaning that juggling the latter stages of a Champions League and a title race is very, very difficult, as I'm sure Zinedine Zidane knows all too well. As you mentioned, that weekend is so key. If Atletico Madrid can go to the Nou Camp and get something, it sets them up perfectly. But if they can't, you just think that Barcelona are going to be the team whose current form certainly is going to be able to push them towards another La Liga title. I mean, all 3 of them are the only teams in La Liga without a loss in their last 5 games. Barcelona have won all 5, and Real Madrid and Atletico have won 3 and drawn 2, one of them being a draw against each other in the Madrid derby. I know this one's so tight, and I think because of Real Madrid's European exploits and also the fact that I don't think they've looked so promising in patches this season, I'm actually going to go for Barcelona. I know that ruins the hope of all Atleti fans and all other football fans that want to see the dominance of the top 2 broken, but I just think Lionel Messi and Barcelona are going to do it again. Next up then, and we move to the Bundesliga, and there are 8 games to go, and Bayern look like steamrolling it again. I know. Same thing as in La Liga. I'm sure so many fans are desperate to see Bayern's stronghold on the Bundesliga broken, but I don't think it's going to happen unless we have a very interesting run of games, which funnily enough, we do. So at the weekend, you also Bayern Munich absolutely smashed Stuttgart. Robert Lewandowski's on form. Bayern Munich are on form, and they head into the next round of the Champions League. But in 2 weeks' time, we return from international football. Leipzig in second place, 4 points behind Bayern, host the league leaders. A win for Bayern here, 7 points clear with 7 games to go. It's their title. A win for Leipzig though, 1 point behind in a difficult run of form for Bayern. Absolutely anything can happen. The thing is, after this game, it kind of splits into 2 difficult periods of both teams playing the same teams. Bayern Munich play the teams that are in 7th, 6th and 3rd directly in the few games after the Leipzig match, whereas Leipzig play similar to the position to those teams towards the end of the season. If Bayern can make it through of this tricky patch, still with a little bit of a lead intact, I feel like when it comes towards the end of the season, they'll be able to coast through to yet another Bundesliga title. So I'm going to go for Bayern Munich. And lastly but not least, one of the most interesting title races this season, and thankfully everyone's been crying out for it because it's not a Farmers League anymore, it's Liga. And I still think PSG are going to win it. This weekend, they smashed Lyon. Like, this is a real statement to go to Lyon, who they were level on points with, and win 4-2. Kylian Mbappe, an absolute fire, has put them, well, in terms of points, joint top at the moment with Lyon. They are, in fact, top because of goal difference in head-to-head. So, with PSG on such a good run of form, are they going to be able to keep this up for the rest of the season? I really think they are going to be able to. The thing is, and although I've mentioned that Real Madrid may not be able to handle a title race and a Champions League race, the same thing could be said for PSG. They do have, no disrespect to the rest of the league, a rather set of easy games. I think they've got Lens, who are currently in 5th at the moment, but the rest of that are mid-table to lower league table teams for PSG. And like I mentioned before, certainly in the Inter Milan title race in Serie A, the fact that Juve and AC, who in 2nd and 3rd play each other, is the same thing that's going to happen in France as well. So the fact that 2nd, 3rd and 4th are all going to be playing each other once football returns, and PSG are kind of dodging that battle altogether, means I think they're going to hit the ground running. Once they come back from international break, they're going to be in fine form, barring any injuries. This may also struggle in the Champions League, as I mentioned before, but I think that Mauricio Pochettino will finally get his hands on the first major trophy as a manager. So there you have it, with Inter, Manchester City, Barcelona, Bayern Munich and PSG. Those are the 5 title winners I can see for the end of the season. You guys let me know your thoughts below. Check out everything else we've got going on, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.